From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey, y'all. Caroline Gant.
Hey, y'all. Austin Lowen.
And Tyler Blankenship.
We're back. We're here. Y'all, welcome to August, a gardener's least favorite month.
The worst month. Mm-hmm. The hottest.
Maybe not the worst. I don't know. Whenever a gardener too, when it gets to be like
February's bad.
Yes, the horrible dark February days, and you're ready for spring. That's a pretty nasty month too.
But you have spring to look forward to.
True.
Right now we're just like, well, everything's looking burnt out, and then we're going into winter.
I know. The annuals and the perennials that are done blooming and that you haven't deadheaded yet because it's hot and annoying. Looking black. I got Shasta daisies that are just covered, pretty foliage, don't get me wrong, but the black deadheads that I haven't deadheaded.
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of that. My echinacea, some of my rudbeckia, like the more specialty ones.
Oh.
My other one is looking great.
There ain't nothing, no fancy
your
rudbeckia.
Well, no, I'm saying the fancy type looks like garbage right now. But the very hardy, I don't know what this one is. I got it at Lowe's like 8 years ago. But that one, looking fantastic.
Oh, good.
The one you really hate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tyler,
All mine kind of petered out. Mm-hmm. And, once their blooms were finished, they were looking really rough. And then we had a little drought patch. They never really bounced back, so we just kind of chopped them.
They don't. Once they're done, they're done.
Oh, yeah.
There's not much reflushing of those.
I got a weed eat here within the next couple of days because it's gotten pretty bad. I'm going to weed eat those Shasta daisies. That's the goal. It's a big patch of them.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Whack them on down.
I'm not going to hit the foliage. I'm just going to hit the stems. Just give them a nice
With your
clean
weed
cut.
whacker?
Yeah. What? It's not going to hurt them.
I would take everything out if I tried to do that.
I've been weed eating since I was 2.
I've been weeding since I was born.
Yeah.
And I still wouldn't be able to control. I haven't.
No.
I did not come out with a weed whacker in hand.
I feel like I did.
Maybe you did. I don't know.
I was the weed eater in our family. My brother hated doing it, so I was always the weed eating guy. Still doing it to this day.
I hate it.
Well, since you spoke about weed eating, a much overgrown section of my garden was whacked down by myself yesterday.
Yeah, you said you were going to do that. That's good.
Yep. It was just so wild. I think so wild that chiggers were in there. And I know that chiggers have been a really big problem this year, especially in the South.
Probably.
I haven't really had any issues with them.
You are blessed or something. But yeah, had to deal with it. There was a hidden hosta in there. Sorry, hosta got lopped.
Yeah.
Well, just like mine my little mouseier one that I gave a flat top to a couple of weeks back.
Yeah. But I got the go ahead.
Kev.
I got the go ahead to clear cut it, so I'm free of any reprimands or anything like that.
I will say, Caroline, you're right. It does feel good after you're done weed eating to look at it. Like there's nothing better than a cleaned up yard after you've weed eaten. My trick too, as I've gotten older, you weed eat your lawn first, and then you mow it.
Yeah.
You clean up all your weed eating old stuff after you do run the mower, and then it's super tidy when you're done. Okay, pro tip on weed eating.
Well, I do the opposite.
So you don't slam your mower against your edges trying to get the grass that's in there.
Now I will say you always end up over weed eating whenever you do it first.
Because
you're just going at it. You know what I mean? But
You're in the zone.
It's more clean when you're done. Okay, there you go. And
kinda
boy, them
wanna
weeds don't care that it's August.
Now I want to go home and weed eat.
No.
I don't. No, you don't. It's too hot today.
It's
a hot one here in Nashville, y'all.
I think we all just have to, all of us collectively, including those listening, commiserate here because it's been a hot summer and it's been demoralizing. And we know that we love plants. We know that we still do deep in our hearts, but we're just plumb tired.
I'm mad at being outside right now.
Yeah.
I know.
So it's not fair. There are cool downs happening. If you look in the forecast here and there, we'll get down a little bit. Take every little piece that you can and run with it.
I think, Tyler, you made a good point earlier before we started this where August is the month to where we think about what we're going to do next once the weather chills, okay? Once fall comes around, it's like, what's our big planting project for the fall,
I got
Do we have one?
So many.
All you do is just plant plants constantly. You don't put any thought into it. You're just like, plant there.
Excuse me. Yes, I do put thought into it.
You're the plant mover of the queen of the South.
Thank you. I'm the queen of something, and that's what matters.
The queen of moving plants.
Important.
Yeah.
I do plan, but then I don't know. Sometimes you put plants in the wrong spot, and you're just like, I'm never gonna love it there.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna move
sometimes. Not literally every plant you plant.
It's not. My Northwind has stayed. My all gold juniper has stayed. I could keep on going.
Oh, I know, because you have 6 million plants in your
Yes,
yard.
I do. That's why I'm so good at my job, because I know about them all. But yeah, in the fall, I'm waiting for fall, and that I'm going to do like a huge overhaul, transplanting stuff into new homes.
Of course.
And it's time. But I'm doing it all at one time. Listen, there's beds that I planted back in like 2017 that I just did. I was not planning 2017 to 2019. There were no plans. It was me just sticking plants in the ground. And so it's come time that I get out there and I move those things and put them in the right spot and get my landscaping in the front of my house really under control.
Well, good. See?
Because the Amazon drivers are probably scared to come down that driveway. Those
That
plants
bad,
are going
huh?
to eat them. It looks good. It's just a lot of plants all over.
I've got a big project I'm doing. Not big, but I'm finally underneath my Chinese fringe tree where I planted some perennials last year. I'm going to replant some this year, and I'm going to
doing?
I don't know. I think about it every single night.
You know what I've told you should do?
What?
Stokes aster.
I know.
They're so good.
Look, I need some sort of foundation piece, kind of in the back, something interesting, maybe.
All right, 3 Stokes aster with some prickly pear in the back. You were
Negative.
going to do it, and then you never did.
Negative.
Stop it.
I don't need that in the bed. Kids walk out there barefoot constantly.
That's true, and it's that.
It's nasty.
Okay, never mind. I take
Or
it
like
back.
Pokesaster.
That worked out good.
Yeah, it did.
But that Mel's Blue Stokes aster.
That is a good plan.
It's
I'll give you
such
that.
a good perennial. It's clean. It's gorgeous.
I need some more
Stay
ground
in
cover in my
control.
life too. That creeping thyme I got, y'all, is like one of my favorite elements of the bed. It's really pretty. Need some of that. I really still like creeping phlox up front. I might do a patch of that out in the very front.
Oh, that would look good.
This is like a multi-layered project. Okay,
Creeping phlox in the front, Stokes aster in the back. There
That's
you go.
right.
Boom.
that's not it. I need way more than that.
Austin, do you remember when everybody said foam flower's not a ground cover in the show?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Ever since then, I haven't spoken up about it.
it stays low. We just don't think of it as a ground cover.
I think of ground
Think
covers as
different.
things that start to spread out and cover the ground.
I mean, if you put them, Tyler, like say 5 or something, like 3 inches apart,
That's what I'm talking about.
that would look.
Yes.
That would be money. Yeah.
But they
Yes.
never really spread. I think about ground covers as something that like spreads.
That would be
I
a
know.
spreading ground cover.
You're right. I was going to say you're true.
Well, that's why I was telling him you got to put them like 3 inches apart.
That would
And
look
that way
good. That's
it would
kind of
look
how
like- yeah.
my shade bed is. My hosta fern and heuchera are all tight like that.
Yeah. I know you mentioned your all gold juniper earlier. Oh my gosh.
I weeded around them the other day, last week, and they are glowing right now.
Literally glowing. Like all gold is a perfect word. It is a beautiful plant. Mine is swelling too much. Coming out into that sidewalk, I'm going to have to chop that
You
thing.
planted yours very close.
I did. But I'm a good pruner, and I'm not scared to prune juniper.
When are you going to prune it? When is the best time?
I'm going to go like mid-February probably.
Okay.
That way I have minimal time. I mean, I could do it. If I did it now, literally, it would shoot probably 2 or 3 more foot of growth. So it's like...
What?
Probably before
They're
fall.
fast growers.
They seriously are.
Mine's creeping around.
So I don't necessarily want that because I'm going to have to prune it again next February. So I'm just going to chill, let it wait, let it rest through the wintertime. And then that way mid-February comes around, I can get it cut back before spring. And that's minimal time. I got to look at those cuts.
So do you not like it creeping over your sidewalk? Because I love that look.
I like it a little bit, but it's starting to creep a little far.
little too far.
Like that's actually where we walk. So it is a functional spot.
Gotcha.
So I can't have it coming out too far. But yes, I'm with you. That cottage feel of something spilling over top of your sidewalk is a nice
That's what
look,
I have my
I think.
cat meant.
Does it
Looks
spread
great.
in every direction, or is it going more towards one direction?
You know what's funny? I planted them close together, and they certainly spread in all directions, like around. They make this huge mass. But what I've noticed is I put them in a triangle pattern. So when they grow towards the interior of the plants, the 3 plants stems will touch each other, and they raise up.
Oh,
So
Whoa.
it's
big
actually-
high five.
Yeah, it's a big something. It's like a movie scene.
Like
like
the
holding
Power
ocean
Rangers or
waves
Captain Planet?
crashing.
So I don't necessarily recommend planting them as close as I did together because they will do that. Because now mine are, I mean, it's literally, they're only, they typically hug the ground like 1 foot. Mine are taller than that. They're like 2 foot. but it's only in the center. On the edges, it's laying on the ground.
Yeah, none of mine are that tall, but I've still got a lot of space between mine.
Yeah, see, I don't. Mm-mm.
Mine will be growing together one day.
Yeah, good plant. All gold juniper, y'all. It's really, really good plant. Really bright, even through the deadest of the winter.
You can see Austin's on the Bates Nursery YouTube channel under the Worth a Grow All Gold Juniper.
Yeah, I forgot I did that.
Check it out.
I got down on a knee, I think.
I'm sure you did. He took a knee for that all gold.
Well, you got to. It's low, okay?
It is really low. I mean, you ain't going to see that at standing level.
No, you ain't.
Nope.
Especially with that long-legged boy.
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler. Hey,
No
what's
probs.
what's your fall goals?
I've got lots of little things. I have this old waterfall bed that was made by the previous owner of my home, and it's like, it was cool, but poorly executed. Like, he dumped just a big jug of resin over where the waterfall bed goes, and then it started cracking up. And so I couldn't use the waterfall anymore because all the water in the pond was going through the rocks and not quite making it back into the pond. I was having to fill it so many times.
Yeah.
So we turned that into a garden bed. Well, it's really shallow, and because it's all rocks on the bottom, there's nowhere for the roots to grow, maybe like 6 or 7 inches. So really all that needs to be probably excavated out.
Maybe, or you could use shallow-rooted plants, sedums, hens and chicks, things like that, maybe.
That would be cute. But I mean, I do think that we are looking towards maybe ripping out all that rock stuff.
No,
and
just getting it all out, huh?
Yeah, and maybe increasing the size of our pond.
You should do that.
Because it's only one of those little like liner ponds that are like the hard plastic ones.
Yeah.
So increasing that, because we have a great tree frog habitat.
I was about to say, I know your partner is very into the frogs.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
They post in their stories all the time, little frogs.
Right. So we want to rear more froglets, and we like observing them. I know this is going crazy, but we have lots of aquatic plants too.
We do a lot of frog talk on this show in the intro.
Well, it's just,
Well, no, I talked about tadpoles for like 5 minutes a couple weeks ago.
There's plenty of places for the little frogs to hide and grow up, and it's also fun watching them make little homes in the plants that are around.
It is fun. It's fun watching them do their thing.
So yeah, that's one thing. That's probably the biggest one. The next one is redoing the west side of the house, kind of along the driveway hill strip bed. That's had bulletproof daylilies for years. I mean, literally, that is a forgotten area, and the daylilies are like, hi,
Oh, yeah.
summer, and then they just gone, and then it looks like crap.
Mine are still blooming.
It's been the longest bloom season for daylilies here in Nashville I've ever seen.
Mine finished up really early. It might have been a water thing. That doesn't get any water except for rainfall.
Yeah.
That's my bed, too.
Yeah, okay. Well,
but your spot's that really nasty, like, dry spot, right?
it's like next to brick.
Yeah.
And then there's an asphalt driveway, and it's upslope. Anyway, it's just rough. Monkey grass, all kind of overgrown.
Yuck.
Yeah. So Austin had a great plan he proposed, and I think I'm going to roll with it, is north wind switch, and then creeping time below. He just mentioned as a ground cover, so keep it cleaner. The key is cleaning everything out of there, because I also have like 2 different kinds of vines that are growing, English ivy and one other like crazy aggressive one.
Oh, gosh.
Variegated.
Oof.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
I have Northwind, like we talk about all the time, but I've got Creeping Jenny, which I never would have planted there. But it's a great ground cover, and it layers itself, like layer upon layer of itself, and no weeds grow up. So it's like this gorgeous yellow ground, and then the Northwind switchgrass coming up.
How much sun?
That was pretty much full sun.
Creeping Jenny will live anywhere.
Yeah.
Like wet, dry, sunny, shady. They don't care.
And it's easy to pull up. At first I was kind of mad at it because it spilled out of some like raised planters I had and then grew into the ground. But I've learned to love it.
Yeah.
It's kind of pretty.
Well, it's just nice when plants actually help you out sometimes. And if they're keeping weeds at bay
It do.
and looking pretty.
Other than African violet. Not African violets, my houseplant brain, but just violets coming up.
Yeah, the wild violet.
Those will always be there.
Always.
So what are you doing this fall?
Told you, I'm redoing the left corner of my cottage bed.
That's right. You started, and then there was so much talk that, sorry.
Yeah.
I know, Tyler went off rearing froglets.
I mean, you got to.
It's all
He
good.
is. He's a frog dad.
How are you going to get anywhere with your garden if you don't define your functions beforehand?
Yeah.
I mean, some people like Caroline are whimsical, and I get it. That's fine. But like when I first designed my original garden layout, I was like, I want to grow fruit, and I want to do production, but I also want to like save water, and it kind of went off in that direction.
Yeah.
But all that needs to be redone too now. Like those beds are really old. The pathways, I need to put cedar mulch around. That's going to be another thing. And weeding out my strawberry bed.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Very good.
So there's lots to do.
Oh, I forgot to tell y'all something. I just looked at that insect book and I saw something crazy yesterday.
What?
A praying mantis just eating a fly from start to finish. I watched it.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I did. It was one of those like, this is, it's yuck. It's making me feel weird, but I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was incredible.
That's cool.
That praying mantis just snatched that fly. Like it was nuts.
Those are the coolest insects.
They're great. They're great for the garden. I don't like looking at them.
I caught one on my butterfly bush, and it was one of the brown ones. I'm not sure. There's like two different kinds that we have now. There's like an Asian one and a regular. But it was just cool. It was hanging upside down.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, I cleaned the blooms up on my butterfly bush, and now everything's new blooms. So nice looking.
Good.
Happy yellow.
Don't be scared to cut.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be scared of praying mantis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be
but
scared of
do
praying
be
mantises.
selective, because on those you can see where the new leaves are coming out. And I kind of had to get really, really tight with some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be tight with your pruning.
Let's get tight with this episode.
I think so.
August 3rd. What do you say?
I say we do it. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we've got the three of us, as well as Josh Carey and David Bates.
Answering them questions.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'd say it's time to dive in. Could wisteria thrive in a large pot with a trellis to climb?
It'll thrive probably too much is the problem. I mean, I don't know that you can get a trellis big enough in a pot that's going to like maintain wisteria unless you're really good at pruning, which that's kind of a cool thing to do. Sometimes it's cool to make a single stem out of that vine and like stake it and then top it, and then it'll bush out up top and you can make a cool little wisteria tree.
Now,
That'd be cool.
Wisterias are what zone hardy generally? I know it depends on the species, but it could be, are they more than zone 5 or?
I believe so, yeah. I think that even in a pot, they'd be plenty
I've seen
hardy
them
for
in
the winter.
Pennsylvania. I've seen them in Iowa. So, I mean,
So, yeah, they should be fine in a pot. They've got an extensive root system, too, though, so go with a pretty big pot if you're going to do it, and then you might every couple years have to take it out and root prune it or move it up into a bigger pot.
Yeah, keep those roots from getting into the ground because they will do that. So, with whatever you might be selecting to go in a container, you really need to aim for 2 hardiness zones lower than wherever you are. Now, we're in zone 7B here, so you really want to go to at least zone 5B or maybe a little bit lower to provide that additional relative insulative effect that being above ground you lose by being in a container. So it's got to be more hardy to be able to stand that, and that's wisteria are not the exception.
would it be fair to say that we might be a little bit disappointed for the first 8 or 10 years? Because, and not only are you going to need a structural steel pergola or a structure like that, they take a minute to bloom.
They do.
Yeah.
And you want to be careful with your fertilizer applications, like not hardly any at all. Like, I mean a
no
first number.
nitrogen.
Yeah, you don't want nitrogen in your soil mix. Okay, so
Vegetative growth is not desired.
No.
It's going to grow. It's a growing machine.
Yes.
yeah, but it won't. Josh is right. It will not bloom if it has excess nitrogen. So don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it. All right, we got another vine question. Can I overwinter star jasmine if it's planted in the ground? You can. I had one for 3 years, and then 2022 took it out. So I was able to overwinter. I mean, I didn't do anything. I just planted it in the ground. It was in full sun, and it grew. It held its leaves during the winter, most of them. But then we had that big winter that came through and it killed it. I mean, there was no life left.
Yeah, and it might have happened even last year as well.
I think it would
we
have,
did go
yeah.
to 10 below. And by the way, in case you're curious, horticulturalists do not get a break on the weather. Things freeze, as Austin can verify, at our homes just like they do everyone else's. So we don't know what the weather's going to do. All we can do is try to make the most informed decisions with regard to that, so that we don't put something in a spot that's going to be likely to freeze out. Most broadleafs are good here year in and year out, but hopefully we're not going to have quite as severe a winter as we've had the last couple, the worst of which was, of course, 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I lost a lot of stuff, so hopefully it doesn't happen again. And then a second Jasmine question: best way to get Jasmine to climb a brick west-facing wall?
It's not going to like self-cling onto that wall, so it's best to get like some sort of trellis system.
Does not have tendrils.
No, it's
it
not
doesn't.
like ivy or something that'll just like cling to it, you know. So
It likes to wrap.
yeah, you need to get something that can wrap up. So, you know, getting something, you know, get creative with it, have fun with it, but make a trellis or buy a trellis or whatever, and get it started at least up.
You know, a section of a cattle panel, which is a galvanized piece of heavy steel that's used for fencing and livestock. But if you trim it down and stand it on end, and maybe put some spacers behind it, it's great for that. And nothing will break it down. I mean, not a wisteria, nothing.
Yeah. What about Tapcon screws into the brick and then taking
I'm a Tapcon
twine
kind of
and
guy.
you could train it to grow in any kind of a
Yeah,
shape
I've
you
seen that
want it to be.
before. I used to maintain some crossvine
Now,
that was
the
trained
deal
like
with
that. And it was
Tapcons
gorgeous.
is you got to paint them black or whatever before you drive them in, because they're blue out of the box, you know, and it don't.
Got a problem with blue?
They don't look good against like a red brick or anything else, unless your house happens to be blue.
That's a good
Take
point.
a magic marker.
Nah, it's not magic.
A magic marker. Yeah. Color it in with the magic marker.
So I would just spray paint them, you know, beforehand.
hex head or the
Stick them
star
in a
head?
piece of cardboard or styrofoam and all together, and just spray paint them, and
Okay.
they're good.
Yeah, but that is a great way to do it. I've seen it done, and it looks fantastic. And then it looks like it's actually clinging to the wall. The place
Right.
I'm talking about had, I don't know if it was fishing line or it's probably something a lot heavier, but that's what they
The
had
screws
used.
completely disappear. You won't see them.
You won't see them. That crossvine ate the screws and the whole building and stayed up through the winter. Oh
It
my
didn't
gosh,
freeze
was a
out either,
cascade.
did
It
it?
didn't freeze out. Cascade of blooms in the spring.
No, it's so good.
And
I have some pictures of it. Maybe I'll bring them, throw them up next week.
and you know, foliage, it's all good. you
Turns dark purple
Yeah.
in the. in the
Don't have to
winter.
worry about its feet getting hot.
Don't have to worry about its feet. It loves its
hot.
feet to be hot.
Oh, okay.
Loves those feet to be hot.
It's never a bad time of year to add Earth Mix to your garden. Earth Mix garden products are sustainably sourced, living soils and amendments crafted to give you the best success for your gardening efforts. Establishing a raised bed? Use Garden Premium Topsoil Blend for an excellent performing growing medium for flowers and vegetables. Amend your gardens with their supernatural compost, with all the nutrients needed to recharge existing soils. For houseplants, their Proganics Indoor Grow Mix is a fantastic potting medium that will feed for up to 6 months without the need for additional fertilizer. Earth Mix is sold only at independent garden centers, so head over to earthmix.net/find Earthmix to locate one near you. Success begins at the ground level when you use Earthmix garden products.
But what do you put in those holes? Flowers. And there's so many colorful flowers
Oh, are there?
all around town.
Yep.
Tyler?
Tyler.
Oh,
Man, I tell you, are you sleeping?
no.
I think he was.
With
No, I'm not.
You were
Hey.
asleep with your eyes
I was
open.
like, should I put the email up so people can see the email to send it? That's what I was doing.
Okay.
So,
All right, you're forgiven. All right, y'all. Things are blooming. A lot of the same things are blooming. It's kind of that weird time. I was sitting up last night trying to come up with stuff, and I'm like, oh, gosh, here we go. So I got a little bit of help today from Caroline, from Ben, from Tyler, all over the place. Very
You
first
got here
one.
early just to get that help.
I did.
know.
He
I
saw
got
you
here
rolling.
early, got my paper out, fresh out of the printer. The printer?
Look at
Is
that.
that what it was?
The printer of your hand.
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
stole it from the.
I did. Paul will be mad at me. All right. Shout out, Ben. You told me this morning. Agastache. Hey, Agastache,
yeah.
Agastache, Agastache, whatever you want to call it. The bees love it.
Yes.
Oh, my God. They're all over it, y'all. Just getting drunk on that Agastache. It's great. Hey, Sedum's still going.
Don't get any ideas, Josh.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Josh. Salliums.
Brew it up.
Yeah. I said Salliums.
Alliums.
That's what I call them now. Alliums. I didn't mean to say Salliums.
You're
Shout
a
out.
psyllium right
Shout out
now.
Sally.
Salliums.
They're still going, almost done. Hey, my girl Veronica's still speeding up.
Ooh.
Okay, Black Eyed Susans. Caroline, you told me that this morning. The Coneflowers, they're also still going. Caroline gave me a new one, which is great. Crocosmia. What you know about Crocosmia?
Nothing.
It's
Nothing.
a great
None of
plant.
y'all do, but it's looking
We
good.
actually brought it into the studio probably about 3-4 weeks ago.
Okay. Typically blooms red
Mine blooms orange.
and the orange. I was gonna say that.
Sorry,
Well,
I'll
great.
let you finish.
It's all good. Crocosmia, y'all grow it. It's pretty cool. Hey, the moonflower datura still, waking up with us in the morning, and then it's going to sleep with us at night. That's what it does.
See them every day.
Morning glory, same way. I got a morning glory
Gross.
climbing my Japanese maple. It's annoying me, but it was blooming blue this morning. I saw it. I said hello to it.
You still haven't pulled that up?
No, I haven't yet. Caroline, it's hot. Okay,
been
give me
You
a
might want to talk
break.
to your neighbors before you plant morning glory.
Oh yeah,
Just saying.
definitely. There's a lot of plants like
It's
that.
an
Hey,
evil plant.
upright garden phlox.
Still going.
Still
Mine
going.
is still going.
Looking good. Bridget, your grasses are still going. Hey, why not? Why not grow grasses? Y'all need to be doing it. Hey, I wanted to talk about this. I talked about elderberry like a month ago. Well, elderberry finished blooming. It's already set its fruit. And then since it's such a weed, it regrew and is reblooming.
Wow.
Wow.
I
clap
mean-
for it.
There you go, Caroline. Don't clap for
I
elderberry.
learned that beavers like to eat elderberries.
Extra clapping
Yeah.
for it because beavers are
Beavers
adorable
eat
and
wood.
they deserve it.
Tyler.
Somebody was feeding them elderberries.
Oh,
Like
Beavers
like
eat a lot of
rescue.
things. Keep going.
They like wood. You know what? Hibiscus still blooming, looking good. Hydrangeas, y'all. Hydrangeas, the Endless Summer Collection, the Annabelles, the Incredibles, the Panicles, all still going. If you're not growing hydrangeas, something is obviously wrong with you. Sun King Aurelia, Caroline brought it in the room today. I've got it at my house. It is blooming right now. Is it really cool? No, not
it's
really.
pretty cool. It gets big.
No, the
color's
plant's
cool.
great. No, the color of the plant is great. We're talking about things that are
Gorgeous.
blooming. Is the bloom cool?
Oh.
Nah.
But what insect is all around those blooms?
Flies. The flies. They're everywhere around Sun King Aurelia, so get ready for that. But shout out, great plant, Sun King Aurelia, fantastic. Hey, Vitex is blooming. Hey, I told Tyler to cut back his Vitex a couple weeks ago. He didn't.
That was last week.
Okay, last week he didn't do it, but you know what? It still spit another bloom, didn't it, Tyler?
Yeah.
You got one bloom on your Vitex right now.
Mine did
Yeah,
too.
I do.
Both
If
of
you
our
would have cut
Vitex.
it back, you would have had like 10.
I had to
Not
put
yet.
in landscape timber, Austin.
All right, okay, whatever. Your
Quit giving
Vitex still
Tyler a
has
hard
one bloom.
time.
We'll get to
Hey,
it.
It's been like 2 months and Magnolia's still spitting blooms. Just spitting, like not really throwing, just spitting. But it's happening. You know what else is
Patootie.
spitting a little bit? Caroline's Jane Magnolia. Her
Yes, it's
deciduous
blooming right now.
magnolia.
What?
Plants do weird stuff, y'all.
Every year it blooms
Every
2
year.
to 3 times.
And it'll throw a few. It's not a ton. It's not a huge show, but it's doing it, okay? Crepe myrtle, y'all, still going, always going in the summer. Rose
Mine's
of
still
Sharon.
not blooming.
Oh, Caroline.
Wow.
Rose of Sharon, the other hibiscus, still growing, still dropping blooms. Hey, some of our, what am I saying, are natives. Ironweed and milkweed. Weeds in the name. They're both weeds, but they're blooming.
I'm
They're
seeing
looking
Joe
good.
Pie now.
You got Joe
Yep.
Pie going?
Joe Pie's going.
Hey, Joe Pie, what's up?
Iron butterfly.
Here we go. The herbs: dill, oregano, basil. Okay.
Wow.
You know what? My basil's not blooming because I harvest it from the tips like you're supposed to.
You're
okay?
so smart.
That's right, but it's a bushy pesto basil in the garden.
And it doesn't bolt on you either, does
It's
it?
not been doing it. Nope. And it's looking good. It's variegated. Y'all, that's a good little plant to grow. In the ground, I ain't done anything to it, and it's a little shrub. Looking good. Hey, Cleome still going. That old weed. Zinnias. Y'all, zinnias. Weed. Yes, that's that's how you say that. Okay, Tyler, get ready. Get it going.
Tyler,
I'm
go,
almost
go,
there.
go.
Cleome, zinnias in Caroline's world, and coleus, the big shade-loving foliage plant. And then, hey, look at that, y'all. That's my mix container.
That's gorgeous.
I
really
took that
cute,
last
Austin.
night. Look, the variegated
little
sweet potato
silver
vines.
wings.
I love the variegated sweet potato.
In the
vine.
middle, y'all, those are just straight up a 4-pack of Impatiens. David talked about it last week about how you overbuy all the time with stuff. Literally, one little 4-pack, like $1.99 that cost me. And then only 4 in the center of that pot, and they've already swelled. They're swelling.
Wow.
On the sides, we got caladiums.
With pride, if
swelling.
nothing else.
Stunning.
God, I love that sweet potato vine, though. That pink, y'all, killer. You can't see the begonia in the back. It's kind of the runt of the litter,
see
but
it
it's back
peeking.
there, and it's blooming. Yeah, I just didn't get it. I'm not a photographer like Tyler.
I love the caladiums.
Oh, right on the sides, y'all. It's full. It's
That's a
looking
watermelon
good.
one, isn't it? Yep.
Oh, it's so good, y'all. Thank you.
Is that
Thank you.
Vinca Major right there in the
That's
center?
it's a variegated. Yeah, it's a variegated vinca. It's called like Illumination.
That's
something
nice.
like that.
I like that.
Y'all, It's taken off. That's what's in bloom.
Wow. It's
Way
beautiful.
to go. Way to go.
My mixed containers look terrible right now.
Yeah.
Just going to go ahead and say it.
Heated. Caroline, why does it look bad? What are you doing wrong, man?
Mine are blowing up.
Well,
If I had your container, Austin, I'd just sit there and look at it.
I do every night, Tyler. I have two that look identical,
You
by the
just
way.
drag up
Yeah.
a chair and you go, what are you doing?
What's
sits
up?
I'm
between the two.
watching my mixed pot.
I do. Yeah, I literally sit there every night. My chair sits right next to those pots, y'all. I sit out every single night and ponder life. You know, I ponder
You
what's in
ponder
bloom.
plants.
I sit there every night and I think, what's in bloom? I write
That's
my list.
You really
the old
do.
porch pondering.
Yep.
Cheatham County porch ponderer.
There it
well,
is.
you got something real pretty to look at on
There it
that
is.
porch.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you for the
welcome.
passion.
You're a gift to us all.
Yes, you are.
Weeds!
He did the same thing when he called out Bridget one time. He went, Bridge!
Yeah. Bridge.
Oh, it's the best.
Okay, Bridge is the best. What's
is
some
the
more
best.
questions, Caroline? We got stuff.
We don't have any more.
No?
Just kidding. We have so many more. We got a few live questions in during your segment, so let's go. We got one from Joyce Hooks that says, Caroline, did you mention you have an Edgeworthia paper bush? Is it normal to get yellow leaves this time of year? Mine may be getting too much afternoon sun. It is pretty normal with how dry it had been before we started getting this rain. Mine was shedding some of the older leaves, so some of the lower leaves. And I did notice when I bought mine, I always like to set my new plants in a spot just to make sure they're going to be happy there. And mine was getting some afternoon sun, and it hated it. So I moved it to the north side of my house, or when I planted it, that's where I did plant it. So it doesn't really get much direct sun at all, and those leaves are actually bigger and more green. So it could be that it's getting a little too much afternoon sun, but it's typical for them to get some yellow leaves and drop them. So it's nothing to really be worried about.
Yeah, we
Joyce.
see them here.
You're
at the-
doing great.
We see them here at the nursery. Once they start getting tired in the season, like lower yellow leaves start to drop.
I
It's
love that
natural.
plant. I love it. I'm
That's
so
a cool
glad I
plant.
finally got myself one. After
plant.
3 years of wanting one, I did it. And then Helen says Austin had trimmed off dead sections of boxwoods that he planted at his home and replanted all of them grouped together. How are those plants faring?
Money.
I did see a picture.
Money power. They're great. It's 7 boxwoods in the same hole, all married together.
Good, that's
and
it.
thank you for asking me.
We've kind of dropped it, haven't we?
We did. You know what? Next week. I'll get you a picture.
And
Okay?
then, you'll also give us a cost analysis of what that one cost you, because you got an investment in that one.
$300 in one boxwood for one hole. Oh, it was great. No, I don't want to talk about it.
But that's what you call.
It's so worth it.
When you get lemons, sometimes you have to make lemonade.
That's right.
And that's what
You got the
that
whole
does.
punch bowl then, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He bought the whole grocery
That was
store.
some labor-intensive lemonade.
But some gorgeous, well worth it.
They look great.
Very
Hey,
sweet lemonade.
They look great. And you know what? Like I said, thanks for asking. That's really nice of you to worry about my boxwood. Don't worry about them. To ask about
Possibly the only
in.
person other than Austin who is.
them. Yeah. Next week, pictures coming.
All right.
Tyler,
We need
Tyler,
a
get
photo
ready.
of that. And then Linda
Always
says,
ready.
I repotted my hibiscus in the spring. It's gotten so big, but not the first bloom. So I guess it hasn't bloomed yet. What can I do?
That's interesting. I wonder what kind of hibiscus. I wonder if it's
Mine's
tropical
orange
or
is
if
doing
it's
the same thing.
Yeah, I mean if it's tropical
Exactly,
hibiscus, like they a lot of times you put them in the ground, they throw a ton of vegetative growth and not a ton of
Right.
floral activity. Is that the way to go?
Floral activity. I
Yes,
think.
floral activity. Just made that up. So that could be the case if it's a tropical one. If it's a perennial hibiscus, that's a little odd to me too. It just sounds like it's really throwing vegetative growth, but not really wanting to bloom.
Again, it could have something to do if you're really juicing it up with a lot of nitrogen, where that it is, it just becomes it's in that growing stage, and things that are trying to flower don't need nitrogen. They really need phosphate and potash, and if you're putting liquid feed on there and it looks lush and growing and all of those things, you might need to back off of that, and it probably needs maybe a more sunlight, because they can adjust to quite lower light conditions, but you may sacrifice flowers in the bloom set in the process. So try to observe those things, see if you can make a change.
Mine was so root bound. I think it's just enjoying the new space and it's going, thank
It's
you.
breathing.
Yes.
That's what they
Spreading its
do. Yeah.
roots. Yeah.
Yeah. And, whatever. Yeah. Go ahead.
I noticed that with my houseplants. When I repot them, they won't grow for a very long time. And then once the roots fill out into the new soil, then they take off. So it's just patience. And then our last live questions thus far comes from Susan. Good morning, all. What are some flowering shrubs that do well in shade? Some morning sun, but afternoon shade. So many plants.
We did this on our little Instagram thing this past week. Yeah, he talked about.
We're talking about shrubs, not perennials. Camellia.
You talked about camellia. There's a lot, y'all. We've got a whole shade department. Come talk to any of us. Come talk to Ryan. He loves the shady stuff. We've got even randomly, we've got like bushy Japanese maples.
Ryan is the least shady thing in our shade section. There's nothing shady about him at all, but he is the Lord over all things shady.
He is.
He's got some really great just performance recommendations on certain types of plants.
Yeah, one great thing about Ryan, he has a lot of experience in the field. So he doesn't just talk about like reading off the tags or what he's heard, but he's like, so at someone's house I planted this and I was able to watch it for 4 years, and he'll like really tell you how the plants perform.
He's a little gossip about certain hydrangea varieties too, He's just like, well, they say that quickfire is good, but really you want the, he really goes into it.
Oh, well, we were talking the other day about beautyberry, and we were looking at the amount of beautyberry that we have right now. Speaking of, y'all come out and get some beautyberry. We got like way too much.
But it all looks great.
You need it in your yard. But he was like, this tag says this gets 5 foot tall. He's like, I've seen it. I'm like, I know. I've seen it. I was in Florida once. I saw a 12-foot hedge of beautyberry. And he's like, so huge. You got to talk to us. You can't just look at the tags. They're not always accurate, y'all. They're like general landscape sizes if you prune and such. But if you don't, we can tell you how big they actually get.
If you had beautyberry, maybe in a more northern climate where the season's not quite as long, it could stay within that. Or if you are especially judicious in using your shears at the right time, yes. But they do get, they're growing machines.
They really are.
Many flowering shrubs.
Calicanthus comes to mind.
Sweet shrub.
That's a cool plant. Yep. Not a lot of people are growing it. Big old leaf for the shade. Like you don't see a big old leaf
I've got one of those. They're gorgeous.
They grow like crazy.
Mine's really huge. I actually need to prune it. And I might transplant it. So.
No, of course. Don't say might. You are.
Am I?
Yes.
Well,
Does
just speaking
everything have to get moved twice in your garden?
No, I just have a lot of
3
plants.
times.
It's just a little bit of them. All right, ground cover in a shady spot. To be mixed with hellebore.
A juga.
Juga?
Try a juga.
I like the look of foam flower, personally.
You think of that as a ground cover?
Yes, because it's really low and its blooms are like spiky and short.
I think ground cover is like.
I think of a spready boy.
Yeah, I've got a little evergreen, little juniper down there that's doing great with my highway to hellebore. That looks gorgeous.
Highway to hellebore.
I love me some ground cover juniper. Some say there ain't no cure for the summertime blues. But we say Bates Nursery is. Located in Nashville, Tennessee, Bates Nursery and Garden Center is a separate world unto itself. They feature the widest variety of plants, including trees, shrubs, native plants, perennials, houseplants, and specimen evergreens. Their knowledgeable staff will assist you with any gardening needs, catering to any experience level. Open year-round, and Caroline, tell them how to get here.
Bates Nursery is located minutes from downtown Nashville off Briley Parkway, exit 19 in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. You'll see it's worth the drive from anywhere. No time to visit the nursery? Shop online with delivery and pickup options available for the greater Middle Tennessee area at www.batesnursery.com.
So if you want to learn a lot about living and a little about love, visit Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
All right, our next question comes from Colin.
Hey, Colin.
Great question. For the cast, if you were a plant, which one would you be?
Colin.
There's a lot of plants I would want to be, but today I'm going to say I'm going to be Rudbeckia. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Look at that. She can handle anything.
That plant's
She's
taller
showing
than you.
off. You know what? We'll bring it to the floor and I'll stand up. No, I won't, but it's not taller than me.
I don't know. It's a little tall for you. Maybe a shorter Rudbeckia.
I never thought it was that one. What are you
I
going
was
to
a
be?
plant, what I
He's
would
getting
be.
ugly because he can't think of what he's going to be.
you know,
Hush, I'm thinking. There's like millions of plants.
I got one, and it's not because I particularly like the plant. I just like to say it. This schizophragma hydrangioides, you know.
Oh,
the climate.
wow.
Schizo, man.
Yeah.
You'd be a climbing hydrangea? Is that what that is?
Well, it's
Oh,
actually
you'd be clinging to
different-
those walls.
It's a different type. It's not.
Yeah.
It's actually not. It's not a climbing hydrangea that looks like one and
Yeah.
it grows like one. So I don't know why it's not one, but schizophragma. It kind of is that name that says it's not what it appears. So I kind of relate to that.
Oh, okay.
Josh.
Sea grapes.
Sea
grapes.
Really?
That's the most random thing I've ever heard you say.
Yep, sea
Why
grape.
would it be sea grapes?
Because it's at the beach, man.
You like the beach?
I love the beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
They're
it.
cool plant.
Yeah, they are. They look
they're
really cool.
Really
Yeah.
neat looking too.
My best
And you're
beach
very neat
day-
looking.
My best beach days are well behind me.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just saying.
Sea grapes.
All right, Tyler.
I've got like 3.
No, you. It's
Oops.
one.
Pick one.
Okay. I guess our wild passion flower. That's what I'm.
Oh, look at you.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I smell sweet.
You do, or the flower does?
I'm a bit of a narcotic. I don't know.
That is
Um,
I'm a little wild looking.
You call me random?
yeah, I know.
All right.
Well, there you go. That come on, Austin.
What are you going to be? A wild rose.
No.
That's fine.
I'm a dinner plate dahlia.
Dinner plate dahlia.
As showy and as loud as can be.
Yeah, that is you.
Uh-huh.
You
There you go, Colin. Dinner plate dahlia.
Colin, what would you be? Go ahead and write it in. We want to know.
yes.
We
yeah,
need to know.
We do.
Mine would change depending on how I was feeling that day.
Of
My
course
first
it
thought
would.
I would be a type of cactus, but you know.
Saguaro came to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. It was close.
Yep. Gonna live forever.
That's
Very
the first
pokey.
thing. Whenever I first saw you, I was like, she can hold a lot of water.
Yeah, I can. Yes,
Yeah.
I can, Tyler. You're right about that. All right, we've got a question about lilac. Lilac with iron issues, dark veins, and pale leaves. What can I do to remedy this?
You're going to add iron.
Yeah.
Iron tone. I mean, we sell that product here. It's just straight up iron. I think it's at 30%, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, it's just straight up iron. And if that's what you need, that's what you got to give it.
And if it is indeed a chelation problem where your pH is too high, what that does is that it ties up, it binds up the plant's ability to gain access to the things that are there. So the iron actually helps to lower that pH along with other things that may be in like those products that will lower the pH to make the iron that is there more readily available. You could have an abundance of iron and the pH be too high and the plant simply can't access it. So so there's that.
All right. Joyce Hooks on our Facebook page says, "You guys are so fun. I'd love to go drinking with you sometime."
Yeah, baby.
I would love that too. That would be so
I'm not sure that would be a good idea.
You'd be driving.
I'm
You
just
can
saying.
drive, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have a Gardening
I'll be-
Inside
I'll be
Out
the
social
DD.
hour.
David will drive us, yeah. Joyce, get with your people. They'll get with our people. We'll make
We're
this
not going to
happen.
do it on a Friday night because we got to do the show in the morning.
We are our people.
Okay, let me get back to our questions. That was a great comment, Joyce. I loved it. Let's talk
Joyce.
about limelights for a moment.
Oh boy.
My limelight hydrangeas grew straight down this year. Could it be pruning problems?
What?
I don't know.
Straight down. You mean they
Maybe they're drooping.
they probably fell straight down
Yeah.
after
I don't
they
know
got
if they
big.
could grow.
I think that they didn't prune and they had a lot of flowers and heavy rains weighted them down, and that's why they're. And when you fail to prune, that's what you can expect to see.
Can we all acknowledge that we've had a pretty rainy summer?
Yes.
In the hydrangea season, for sure. Yeah. And, unfortunately, we can tell you to prune, and we certainly recommend you pruning. And even if you do prune sometimes, if you have those horrible summer rains that just fill up those blooms, even if you did perfect pruning, you can still see some flop, okay? It's just part of it with limelight.
But it
They
does
are so full.
It does reduce it significantly.
It does.
You increase the stem count and you reduce the overall average size of the flowers that are out there. So individually, they don't catch as much water. Therefore, they're better more adept at handling that weight.
Yeah.
So, and then the stems being shorter because you have trimmed them also helps to make them less flexible and bendy, if you want to use a technical term. So, bendy.
Right, in our second hydrangea question, my summer crush hydrangeas have black spots and the blooms are all dead. They were beautiful a month and a half ago. What do I do? Do nothing.
No, you cut them off if you don't like them. I mean, the blooms are done. You probably bought them in bloom, I'm assuming. And then, the black spot's kind of normal this time of year, at least a little bit. It's rare you're going to see a hydrangea just clean through the whole season.
This is exactly what mine look like.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's typically lower leaves. You can, plants have so many leaves. If you just remove a few, you don't notice anything different, really. So just take the black leaves off that look bad, cut off the old spent blooms, and then just live with your hydrangea. Live with that summer crush.
They're living. They're not going to be perfect year round.
Yeah.
They're not.
We've all had a summer
Gardening's
crush.
Not like that.
If you're striving for perfection, gardening may not be your hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Because things happen.
Yes.
Weather is unpredictable, and it's hard to prepare for everything.
Yeah, and like David said earlier, does it happen to y'all and not us? No, it happens to us just the same, y'all. I've got 2 hydrangeas, blue billows, and some of the lower leaves have some black spot on them.
We're just in so deep already, we can't change at this point.
No, I've got too many plants. Hey, Tyler, we did get a photo in from Sheila.
Hey,
Shall we get that up?
Shayla.
So Sheila said, hello from Clarksville. Just planted 3 Itea this year. What's happening? Is it deer, bugs? How do I treat this?
Did you get all the parts?
There it is.
They didn't get all the parts.
Doing
right?
something weird.
I think you're confused about the store, Josh. We're talking about the plant.
Oh, IKEA.
I know.
Yeah.
They're very similar. Look at that hosta right next to it.
Oh, that came in the other day to Paula's office. I looked at that. You know what you've got? You've got a perfect incision on the leaves. That is a leaf cutter bee.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Those are so cool.
Those are super cool. And all they do is make little notches like that in a few leaves. Like, they are not a pest that is a killer of a plant at all.
Consider yourself special, Sheila.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
Yes,
attract
you got
a desirable
insect.
pest.
In fact, that's probably doing its function in the ecosystem. It's a native plant.
Definitely is. I mean, that's part. My mom, shout out, Mama. How you doing?
Hey.
I gave her a red bud for her birthday or Mother's Day, one of those days, and she had a leaf cutter bee come in and make perfect cuts around those red bud leaves. And it's just special when you see that. It's just like, this is kind of cool, And it's nothing to worry about. Sheila, nothing to worry about. Your idea is fine. You can't kill that plant. Good Lord.
I just think that those leaf cutter bees put thoughts in the wood in the carpenter bees. Hey, we could do that in wood.
Yeah.
I don't like
got to
those.
get a union.
A little less desirable.
Gotta get a union.
Yeah.
Cherry tree.
Cherry.
There are holes and red spots on my cherry blossom tree. How do I treat it?
All right, it's been wet. The shot hole has been kind of real this year, y'all, with anything in the Prunus genus, which cherries is. Yeah, so they'll put little holes in leaves. At this point in the game, you've lost those.
In a normal summer, you might not even have leaves on it at this time of year because it's too dry. They're the first thing to start dropping foliage, and that's indicative of dry conditions. And they'll drop them. I have seen them largely defoliated still in July. Yeah. So this year we've gotten a lot of rain. The fact that you have leaves on there is a sign that there's something that can chew on it. So, they're going to shed off later on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no. At this point in the game, it is what it is.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You see Gary's?
Did I see Gary's?
Gary's question.
Oh, Gary Lee said, morning all. Grass is taking over my monkey grass. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I've been hand pulling it, and that is getting old. Is there any way to kill the grass without killing the monkey grass?
You can spot spray herbicide, but be very, very careful. Very careful. Real close. I mean, hand pulling's...
Yeah. Pull it back, and again, there was an old recommended method that we might not recommend as much anymore. But
if you're going to use glyphosate Roundup, if you're really trying to selectively spray with that, you're not going to spray at all. You need to pull it out to the side, put a plastic glove, like a dishwashing glove on, a cotton glove over that, mix it in a bucket, and dip your hand in there that's got the protective glove and wipe it on that grass, pull it out away from the
You can control it that way.
And it'll only get on that. But that's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
Most people are not.
A lot of
gonna
good
do that.
string trimmer skills could come in here.
Hey, we're done.
Yeah, we are. I know.
Done.
My goodness
Went
gracious.
by fast.
Once again, thanks for everybody for tuning in today.
Yep. Next Saturday we'll come back. We'll be here
Sure,
for you here
absolutely.
from Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
We will.
All the lot will
Some
be
form or
full.
fashion will be here. You just never know exactly.
I'm gonna be here.
Well, we'll be
We'll
here.
be
At least
okay.
I'm
We'll
planning
be
on
here.
it. I mean,
We hope you all join us as
Yes.
you come into it too. Hey, everybody out there, Risha, we'll get that question next week, but that's a whole nother day for us on that. But we do appreciate you. Hey, if you like us, share, tell everybody, spread the word so we can keep coming to you on Saturday mornings because we're going to try. Sure are. Once again, from Bates Nursery and Garden Center in the Green Room, we thank you for being here. We'll see you next Saturday morning.
Keep on digging, people.
Dig it.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.